The British House of Lords has voted to delay that refugee exchange with Rwanda. I want to get into that in a second, but Alexander, just as we lost you, I wanted to, you're a proud Australian, you were the longest serving foreign minister, you sold the Australian dream around the world. What do you make of suburban terrorists using an angle grinder to cut down a statue of James Cook in St Kilda at 3:30 in the morning?
Well, it's very important the police find who these people are who did it, because this is purely a political act. This isn't an act of vandalism. As Steve Pitt was saying, it's a political act. And I'd like to know politically the sort of people who are behind this sort of thing. I mean, I would have thought Australia Day was a time to celebrate Australia, to celebrate its huge achievements. I mean, Australia would have to be, and I'm speaking to you from London, one of the most successful, if not the most successful countries in the world. And you'd think just for one day of the year, we might just celebrate that instead of somehow a tiny minority of people are ashamed of our history. Well, I think it's contemptible.
And the dumb comment, the colony will fail. I mean, that makes these people even more ridiculous, stupid, dangerous and dumb.
The colony, as it originally was, and a series of colonies, turned out to be a triumphal success. More successful, I would argue, than any other settlement in the history of humankind. So it certainly is a very political statement, and I'd like to know what sort of political people, what sort of political parties, what sort of political movements are behind it. I think we can guess, though.
I reckon we've got a pretty good idea, and I think we might see some of them on the streets of Sydney and Melbourne tomorrow, led by Senator Lydia Thorpe. But we'll let the police do their work and hope they make a quick arrest. Let's talk about this Rwanda bill. What do you make of that House of Lords decision to actually delay this?
Well, it sounds like the House of Lords decision, but it's very party political. The Labor Party and the Liberal Democrats, who are a bit like the old Australian Democrats in the House of Lords, just voted against it, and they have, when they vote together, they have a majority in the House of Lords. So that is what's happened. The House of Lords, though, can only delay legislation, can't defeat legislation, because as its name suggests, it's not an elected House of Parliament, so its role is limited to review. We'll see how much it delays the legislation. It may delay it by a few weeks, but it won't defeat it. The legislation will go through. But this has taken the British government 2 years, and so it's taken way too long. They haven't handled it very well. The public has slightly given up on the government solving the problem of illegal immigration. So the public will be pleasantly surprised if this bill finally goes through.
Looks like Donald Trump might have locked up the Republican nomination.
I think so, yes. I'm not 100% sure, but it does look like it. I think Nikki Haley, who I really like, who I've met, Nikki Haley is starting to look a bit weak, might be the right way of putting it. The thing about Donald Trump is he's very charismatic. You know, he's very watchable on TV, and very dynamic. And for all that's thrown at him, and it's huge what's been thrown at him, something like 91 charges against him. He keeps popping up, looking confident and looking defiant. And, you know, I think people are looking nowadays everywhere, including in Australia, for strong leaders and leaders of conviction. And whatever you think of Donald Trump, he comes across that way. So a lot of people, including a lot of young people, are responding pretty positively to him.
Yeah, nothing seems to dent him. Alexander Downer, fantastic to catch up with you. Thank you very much. We'll talk again soon.